It all started on what seemed like an ordinary Thursday evening. I had just finished a grueling 12-hour coding marathon at my tech startup job and was dreaming of nothing but my comfortable bed. But as I turned onto Maple Grove Lane, something made me slam on my brakes so hard my laptop bag nearly flew off the passenger seat. A shiny red BMW was parked diagonally across my driveway. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed, because tomorrow I've saved something extra special for you. You might think I'm being dramatic about a simple, shocking issue, but trust me, what followed over the next few weeks would make this initial intrusion look like a minor inconvenience. This isn't just a story about a car in the wrong spot. It's about how one entitled neighbor's relentless pursuit of convenient parking turned into a suburban warfare that would eventually lead to not one, but two towing incidents, a viral neighborhood scandal, and the most satisfying lesson in property rights I've ever witnessed. I should probably mention that I'm not usually the confrontational type. My job involves solving complex problems with logic and patience, and I generally apply the same approach to real-life situations. When I first saw that BMW, my sleep-deprived brain actually tried to rationalize it. Maybe someone was having an emergency. Perhaps a visitor got confused about which driveway belonged to which house. In our neighborhood of nearly identical modern townhouses, it wasn't entirely impossible. The responsible thing to do, I decided, was to handle this like any other bug in the system. Identify the issue, communicate clearly, and implement a solution. So instead of letting my frustration take over, I parked my Tesla Model 3 on the street, thankfully finding a spot just 2 houses down, a minor miracle in our parking-starved neighborhood, and walked up to the offending vehicle. The BMW was even more obnoxious up close. It wasn't just parked in my driveway. It was angled in such a way that it blocked both my garage door and the small parking pad where my girlfriend usually parks her car when she stays over. The car's pristine finish and custom license plate reading BSS Lady suggested this wasn't some desperate person in need. This was someone who simply couldn't be bothered with proper parking etiquette. I pulled out my phone and took several photos, making sure to capture the car's position, license plate, and how it blocked access to my property. 4 years of documenting software bugs had taught me the value of thorough documentation. Little did I know how handy these photos would become later. Then, channeling my inner diplomat, I wrote a polite note on one of the index cards I keep in my car for brainstorming coding solutions. Hi there. Hey, I noticed your car is parked in my driveway at 1842 Maple Grove Lane. While I understand parking can be challenging in our neighborhood, this is private property and I need access to my garage. Please move your vehicle as soon as possible. Thanks for understanding, Alex. I placed the note under the windshield wiper, making sure it was secure enough not to blow away in the Bay Area evening breeze. Then, fighting the urge to let my car's sentry mode record whatever might unfold, I trudged inside my townhouse, collapsed on my sectional sofa, and fell into an uneasy sleep, still fully dressed in my hoodie and jeans. Looking back, I have to laugh at how naive I was in that moment. I actually thought a polite note would be the end of it, that somehow the owner of that BMW would read my reasonable request, realize their mistake, and this would become nothing more than a funny story to share during our next team stand-up meeting. But as the sun rose the next morning, I would discover that this was only the beginning. The war over my driveway was about to escalate in ways I never could have imagined, and my quiet life as a software developer was about to become anything but peaceful. After tossing and turning for a few hours on my sofa, I woke up to the gentle ping of my smartwatch. 6:30 a.m., time for my morning stand-up meeting. I stretched, grimacing at the stiffness in my neck from falling asleep in an awkward position, and immediately remembered why I hadn't made it to my bed last night. The BMW. I rushed to my front window, hoping against hope that its owner had come to their senses overnight. No such luck. The red BMW was still there, looking even more offensive in the crisp morning light. My note was still tucked under the windshield wiper, though now it was slightly damp from the morning fog that often blankets our part of Silicon Valley. What made matters worse was that my girlfriend Rachel's car was now parked on the street 3 blocks away. She had arrived late last night for our planned dinner date, only to find she couldn't access her usual spot. "I tried calling you," she texted, "but you were dead to the world. Don't worry, I ordered DoorDash and left some pad thai in your fridge. Also, what's with the BMW? New midlife crisis purchase I should know about?" I smiled despite my irritation. Rachel, a UX designer at a rival tech company, always knew how to lighten the mood, but her message reminded me that this wasn't just about my inconvenience anymore. The BMW was affecting other people too. Time to escalate my response, but still keeping it professional and documented, just like I would handle a critical bug at work. I grabbed my iPad and opened my Notes app, starting a new document titled Driveway Incident V2.0. Speaking into my Apple Pencil, I drafted a more assertive message. "Attention, your vehicle, red BMW license plate, BSIS Lady, is illegally parked on private property at 1842 Maple Grove Lane. This is your second notice. Failure to remove your vehicle within the next 4 hours will result in it being reported to local authorities and towed at owner's expense. All attempts at contact have been documented." I printed this notice using my home office printer, making 2 copies, one for the windshield and one for my records. Yes, I know it might seem excessive, but when you've dealt with as many software liability issues as I have, you learn to keep receipts for everything. I also added a QR code linking to California Vehicle Code Section 222658A, which details property owners' rights regarding unauthorized parking. A bit nerdy, perhaps, but I wanted to make it clear I knew my rights as I was taping the notice to the BMW's driver's side window, while carefully avoiding any contact with the actual paint because I didn't need a vandalism accusation on top of everything else. I noticed movement in the rear-view mirror of the car. Using its reflection, I could see someone watching me from the window of the modern grey townhouse across the street. A woman with perfectly styled blonde hair, probably in her 40s, wearing what looked like designer loungewear. She disappeared from view before I could get a better look, but something about her presence made me uneasy. I had that same feeling I get when I spot a hidden dependency in code that could bring down the entire system, a sense that this situation was more complicated than it appeared on the surface. I headed back inside to get ready for my day of virtual meetings, making sure to enable my Ring doorbell's motion alerts. I also sent a quick message to our neighborhood's Facebook group. Friendly reminder to all residents of Maple Grove Lane. Please respect private property and do not park in driveways without permission. We're all facing parking challenges, but blocking access to homes creates safety issues and inconveniences multiple families. The post was carefully worded to avoid any direct accusations while still making the point. I added a generic stock photo of a no parking sign rather than the picture of the actual BMW, again keeping it professional and avoiding any potential drama. At least that was the plan. Within minutes, the post had garnered several responses. Most were supportive, sharing their own parking horror stories. But one comment caught my eye, from a profile named Rebecca Sterling. "Some people are so selfish about their empty driveways. This is supposed to be a community. Maybe if everyone shared more, we wouldn't have these issues. Just saying." The passive-aggressive emoji at the end made my eye twitch. As a user interface developer, I had strong feelings about emoji abuse, but that wasn't what bothered me most. It was the entitlement dripping from every word, the same entitlement that would lead someone to park their luxury car in a stranger's driveway. I resisted the urge to respond. Instead, I documented the exchange with screenshots, adding them to my growing driveway incident file. Little did I know, this digital interaction was just the preview of what was about to unfold in the real world. The next few hours would prove that sometimes the most challenging bugs in the system aren't in the code, they're in the people using it. My morning meetings passed in a blur of Zoom calls and Slack notifications, but I couldn't fully focus. Every notification from my Ring doorbell made me jump, though it was usually just Amazon deliveries or the occasional squirrel. Around 2 p.m., I finally heard the distinct sound of a car starting up outside. Through my home office window, I watched as the red BMW backed out of my driveway and glided away, its engine purring smugly. "Finally," I muttered, quickly checking my security camera footage to make sure there wasn't any damage to my property. The footage showed the driver, a blonde woman in expensive-looking athleisure wear, crumpling up my notice before getting into her car. She looked directly at my security camera and rolled her eyes before driving off. Classic. I sent a quick text to Rachel. "The BMW Bandit has finally retreated. You can come over tonight without needing hiking gear to reach my house." She responded with a laughing emoji and, "Rain check? Got a late design review. But keep me posted on Cargate 2025. I should have known better than to feel relieved, just like those deceptively simple bug fixes that end up cascading into bigger problems. This was only the beginning. The next morning, I opened my front door to grab my daily coffee delivery from my favorite local cafe. They know to leave it by the door at exactly 7 a.m. And there it was again. The same red BMW, but this time parked even more aggressively, taking up my entire driveway at an angle that would make a geometry teacher weep. But wait, it gets better. Next to the BMW was a hot pink Lexus SUV, parked halfway across my lawn, its tires leaving indents in the grass I'd just had landscaped last month. The two cars together formed a perfect blockade of my property, like some kind of luxury vehicle. Fortress. On my doorstep, instead of just my coffee, I found a handwritten note on expensive-looking stationery. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel. It means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Dear uptight neighbor, since you're clearly not using your driveway for any actual cars, a Tesla doesn't count, it's basically a computer on wheels, I've invited my friend Sarah to park here too. We're both members of the Bay Area Luxury Auto Club, and this neighborhood needs to maintain certain standards. Your passive-aggressive notes and tacky QR codes are not the way we handle things in Maple Grove Lane. Rebecca Sterling, BSS Lady, PS. Love the security camera. I made sure to wave. I stared at the note, then at the cars, then back at the note. My software developer brain tried to process this level of entitlement, but it was like trying to run Windows 95 on a quantum computer. Some things just don't compute. I took a deep breath and did what any rational person would do in 2025. I took pictures of everything and uploaded them to my growing digital evidence folder in the cloud. But I also noticed something interesting in my Ring camera's morning footage. Rebecca and her friend hadn't just parked their cars. They'd spent nearly 20 minutes arranging them for maximum inconvenience, like they were staging a photo shoot for Entitled Monthly. At one point, they actually used a measuring tape to ensure their cars were perfectly positioned to block both my garage and the street access. The level of effort they'd put into being difficult was almost impressive. As someone who appreciates thorough testing scenarios, I had to admire their commitment to causing maximum disruption. Almost. But two could play at this game, and they were about to learn that a software developer's attention to detail could be weaponized for justice. I decided to upgrade my response from a simple note to what we in tech would call a full-stack solution. First, I printed out large weatherproof signs clearly stating private property, no parking, and installed them at both ends of my driveway. Each sign included not only the relevant vehicle codes, but also a warning about 24/7 video surveillance and automatic notification to towing services. Then I set up an automated system using my security cameras and a simple script I wrote during my lunch break. Every time a car parked in my driveway, it would automatically log the time, take multiple photos, and send them to my phone. A bit excessive? Maybe. But as we say in programming, it's not a bug, it's a feature. Looking at my handiwork, I couldn't help but smile. Rebecca Sterling might think she was dealing with just another pushover tech nerd, but she was about to discover that some of us nerds know how to push back. The next move was hers, and thanks to my new security setup, I'd be ready for whatever she planned next. Little did I know, BSS Lady was about to live up to her license plate in ways that would make our previous interactions look like a friendly game of ping-pong. The confrontation I'd been anticipating happened in the most Silicon Valley way possible. I was in the middle of a virtual reality meeting with my development team, demonstrating a new user interface feature through my MetaQuest headset, when my phone started buzzing with notifications from my security system. Initially, I tried to ignore it. I was in the middle of an important presentation after all, but the alerts kept coming rapid-fire, like someone was repeatedly triggering the motion sensors. "Sorry, team," I said, trying to sound professional while my avatar probably looked ridiculous, hovering in our virtual meeting space. "I need to take a quick break. Jerry, can you walk through the back-end integration while I handle something?" I pulled off my VR headset just in time to hear what sounded like an argument outside. Through my home office window, I spotted 3 people standing in my driveway. 2 I recognized, Rebecca Sterling and her friend Sarah from the pink Lexus. Incident. The 3rd was a man in a business suit who seemed to be measuring my driveway with a laser distance meter, of all things. I grabbed my phone and headed outside, making sure my security cameras were recording. As I opened my front door, I caught the tail end of their conversation. "See, Richard," Rebecca was saying, gesturing dramatically with a Starbucks cup in one hand and an iPad Pro in the other. "The driveway is clearly wide enough for 3 cars. It's just wasteful for him to keep it empty all day while he sits inside, playing with his computers." The man, Richard, was tapping numbers into what looked like a high-end Samsung tablet. "Well, according to HOA bylaws, Section 7.3, residential, driveways are indeed considered." I cleared my throat. "Can I help you folks with something?" They all turned to face me. Rebecca Sterling in person was exactly what you'd expect from her notes and behavior. Designer everything, from her Lululemon workout set to her Apple Watch. Ultra. Her friend Sarah matched the aesthetic, though she seemed more interested in taking selfies in front of my Tesla than participating in whatever this was. But it was Richard who caught my attention. His tablet case had the logo of our neighborhood's property management company. "Ah, you must be Alexander Chen," Richard said, extending his hand. "I'm Richard Montgomery, head of the Maple Grove Lane Property Management Association. Mrs. Sterling here has raised some concerns about your, parking situation." I didn't shake his hand. Instead, I pulled out my phone and started my own recording. "You mean the situation where Mrs. Sterling and her friends repeatedly park their vehicles on my private property, despite multiple warnings?" Rebecca stepped forward, her Louboutin heels clicking on my driveway. "Oh, don't act so victimized. You're clearly new to this neighborhood and don't understand how things work here. Some of us have been members of the Maple Grove community for years, and we have certain arrangements." "Arrangements?" I raised an eyebrow. "For using other people's private property without permission?" "It's about efficient use of resources," she said, sounding like she was pitching a startup idea. You're barely even here most of the time, always in your little virtual meetings. Meanwhile, my friends and I have real businesses to run. We host luxury car enthusiast meetups, social media influencer events. In my driveway? The point is, Richard interjected, Mrs. Sterling has submitted a formal proposal to the HOA board about implementing a driveway sharing program. Given the parking challenges in our neighborhood, I held up my hand to stop him. Let me get this straight. Instead of apologizing for repeatedly parking illegally on my property, you're trying to get the HOA to force me to share my driveway. Is this some kind of joke? Sarah, finally paying attention to the conversation, chimed in. It's about community. We're all verified creators on Instagram. Do you know how many followers we have? Having our cars visible in the neighborhood increases property values. I couldn't help but laugh. Right, because nothing says luxury neighborhood like entitled influencers treating private property like their personal photo studio. Rebecca's perfectly Botoxed face tightened. You think this is funny? I've been featured in Silicon Valley Style magazine. I have partnerships with 3 different luxury car brands. Who are you? Some code monkey who got lucky with stock options. I'm the owner of this property, I said firmly, and you're all trespassing. Richard, I suggest you remind Mrs. Sterling about California Civil Code Section 1954. As for you, I turned to Rebecca, the next time I find your car in my driveway, it's getting towed. No more warnings, no more notes, no more arrangements. Rebecca's eyes narrowed. We'll see about that. Richard, I'll email you the updated proposal tonight. We'll discuss this at the next board meeting. She turned on her heel, almost dragging Sarah away from her impromptu photo shoot. As they walked away, Rebecca called over her shoulder, By the way, your Ring doorbell is so 2024. You should really upgrade to something more premium. I watched them leave, already dreading whatever proposal Rebecca was cooking up. But one thing was certain. This entitled influencer had picked the wrong tech nerd to mess with. If she wanted to play games, I had a few algorithms of my own to deploy. The next morning, I woke up to my phone practically having a meltdown. Notifications were pouring in from Nextdoor, our neighborhood Facebook group, and even my LinkedIn profile of all places. Confused and still half asleep, I opened my laptop to investigate. What I found made me spill my morning coffee all over my keyboard. Rebecca Sterling had gone full social media warfare. She'd posted a carefully edited video across multiple platforms, showing her side of our driveway confrontation. The video, shot by Sarah naturally, was a masterpiece of selective editing. It started mid-conversation, cutting out all of Rebecca's provocative comments and focusing solely on my firm responses. She'd even added sad background music and captions like "Local tech bro threatens female entrepreneurs" and "Toxic masculinity in Silicon Valley, a case study." The video ended with a tearful Rebecca looking directly into the camera. All we wanted was to create content that would benefit our entire community. But some people just don't understand the creator economy. Please share to raise awareness about property harassment in luxury neighborhoods. The driveway saga, Chi Silicon Valley struggles, Chi creator rights. I had to hand it to her. She knew exactly what she was doing. The post was rapidly gaining traction, especially in local tech and real estate circles. Some commenters were already calling me a typical tech industry misogynist and suggesting boycotts of my company, even though they had no idea where I worked. But Rebecca had made one crucial mistake. Like many non-tech people, she didn't understand the concept of metadata. I downloaded her video and checked its properties. Sure enough, it contained the original recording date, 2 hours before our actual confrontation. They had planned and rehearsed the whole thing. More importantly, my own security system had captured the entire interaction in 4K, with crystal clear audio from multiple angles, including the parts where Rebecca and her friends were measuring. my driveway and discussing their plans before I came outside. I was considering my next move when my phone rang. It was Rachel. "Alex, have you seen what's happening online?" She sounded worried. "That Rebecca woman is really trying to paint you as the villain here." "Yeah, I'm looking at it now," I sighed. "She's good at what she does, I'll give her that." "Well, she just went live on Instagram. She's hosting some kind of luxury car meetup right in front of your house. You might want to check this out." I pulled up Instagram and sure enough, there was Rebecca broadcasting live to her apparently substantial following. The street in front of my house had been transformed into some kind of impromptu car show. At least a dozen luxury vehicles were parked along both sides of the road. Their owners posed next to them like they were shooting a calendar. Rebecca was in her element, walking between the cars with her phone on a stabilizer, introducing each owner and their vehicle. And this beautiful Aston Martin belongs to a luxury lifestyle Larry. Yes, this is the neighborhood I was telling you about earlier. Such a shame about the parking situation, but we're not letting negative energy stop us from creating amazing content. I watched in disbelief as she approached my driveway, the camera focused on her face in influencer selfie mode. And this, my lovely followers, is the now infamous driveway. Can you believe someone would waste all this space in this economy? That's when I noticed something that made my blood run cold. While Rebecca was distracting everyone with her live stream, Sarah and two other women were slowly backing their cars into my driveway, trying to make it look casual and unplanned. Time for some counter-programming. I quickly connected to my smart home system and activated the sprinklers, all of them. The reaction was immediate and hilarious. Rebecca's perfectly styled hair went flat. Her phone started glitching from the water, and her designer outfit was instantly soaked. The cars scattered like startled cats, their owners scrambling to protect their precious paint jobs. "Did you just—" Rachel was laughing so hard she could barely speak. "Deploy a tactical irrigation response?" Yes, I did. The live stream was still going, capturing every chaotic moment. Rebecca was screeching about her ruined outfit and threatened lawsuits, but her followers were loving it. The comment section exploded with laughing emojis and karma messages. I grabbed my phone and walked outside, making sure to stay on my porch where the sprinklers couldn't reach me. "Is there a problem?" I called out innocently. "My smart home system is programmed to water the lawn whenever it detects unauthorized vehicles. You know how it is with these AI systems. They can be so sensitive." Rebecca looked like she was about to explode. Her makeup was running, her expensive hair extensions were dripping, and her white Lululemon outfit had become embarrassingly transparent. This is assault. I'm calling my lawyer." "For automated lawn maintenance on my property. Good luck with that. By the way, your live stream is still running." She fumbled with her wet phone, trying to end the broadcast as her followers continued to flood the comments with laughter. The luxury car owners had already fled, leaving Rebecca and Sarah standing alone in their soggy designer clothes. "This isn't over," Rebecca sputtered, trying to maintain some dignity as she squelched back to her car in her waterlogged Louboutin. "You have no idea who you're dealing with." "Actually," I replied, "I think you're the one who doesn't know who you're dealing with. But I'm sure your followers would love to find out. The full security footage from today should make for some interesting content." The sprinkler incident quickly became what Rachel called my first viral moment. Clips from Rebecca's live stream were everywhere, remixed with music and memes across social media. Someone even added the Titanic theme song to the moment when Rebecca realized her phone wasn't waterproof. My personal favorite was the TikTok that paired the footage with a documentary-style voiceover. Here we observe the entitled influencer in her natural habitat, experiencing an unexpected shower. The next few days were surprisingly peaceful. Rebecca's BMW was nowhere to be seen, and the luxury car meetups had relocated to a nearby shopping center parking lot. My security cameras caught her driving past my house a few times, but she didn't attempt to park. I almost felt bad about the sprinkler thing until I checked my email. "You've been served," read the subject line from an unknown sender. The email contained a PDF of a letter from Sterling and Associates Legal Services. I had to read it twice to believe what I was seeing. Rebecca was threatening to sue me for damages to her iPhone 15 Pro Max, her Alexander McQueen outfit, and, I kid you not, emotional distress caused by cyberbullying and targeted harassment. The letter was as ridiculous as it was formal, claiming that my sprinkler system constituted a premeditated attack using weaponized irrigation technology. It demanded compensation for her ruined items and insisted that I sign an agreement never to post or share the security footage of the incident. I forwarded the email to Rachel, who worked with enough tech companies to know a good lawyer. Her response came within minutes. "LOL, is she serious? Check who Sterling and Associates actually is." A quick Google search revealed that Sterling and Associates was registered as a business just 3 days ago. The listed address? Rebecca's house. She had created a fake law firm to try to intimidate me. The woman's commitment to drama was almost admirable. I decided to respond in kind. I spent my lunch break creating a simple web page, SiliconValleySprinklers.com. On it, I posted the complete, unedited security footage from multiple angles, along with a timestamp comparison proving Rebecca's original video was staged. I added a section titled, "Know Your Property Rights," with relevant California laws about trespassing and unauthorized parking. Finally, I included a live stream feed of my driveway with a counter showing how long it had been influencer-free. The website went semi-viral in our local tech community. Several software developer forums picked it up as a case study in creative problem-solving using home automation. A popular tech blog even reached out for an interview about innovative approaches to property protection in the digital age. That evening, I received another email, this time from Richard Montgomery at the HOA. The subject line made me smile. Withdrawal of driveway sharing proposal. Apparently, after seeing both sides of the story and probably realizing how ridiculous the whole situation looked, the board had unanimously rejected Rebecca's proposal before it even came to a vote. I was feeling pretty good about the whole thing. Rachel came over to celebrate with takeout and wine, and we spent the evening reading the increasingly creative comments on the website. "You know," she said, curled up on my sofa with a glass of Merlot, "this could actually turn into something useful. There are probably lots of people dealing with entitled neighbors and parking issues. What do you mean? Well, you could turn your solution into an actual product. Smart home security specifically designed to protect property rights. Call it Driveway Defender or something." I laughed, but the developer part of my brain was already spinning up ideas, an integrated system of cameras, sensors, and automated deterrents, all controlled through a user-friendly app. It had potential. "Maybe later," I said, pulling her close. "Right now, I'm just happy to have my driveway back." That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. The next morning, I even disabled the sprinkler automation system as a sign of good faith. Rebecca seemed to have learned her lesson, and I was ready to put the whole thing behind me. I should have known better. In my line of work, we have a saying, "It's not a bug fix until it's tested in production." And this fix was about to face one hell of a stress test. Because while I was celebrating my victory and dreaming up smart home security products, Rebecca was in her house across the street, plotting something that would make our previous encounters look like a friendly game of ring doorbell tag. As I would soon discover, hell hath no fury like an influencer with a damaged reputation and a point to prove. The calm lasted exactly 8 days. I was deep into coding a particularly tricky algorithm when my phone started buzzing with notifications. Not from my security system this time, but from dozens of random phone numbers I didn't recognize. Text messages were pouring in. "Hi, is this still available? Interested in the free Tesla. What time can I come see it? OMG, is the Model 3 really free? First come, first serve." I was baffled until Rachel sent me a screenshot from Facebook Marketplace. Someone, and I had a pretty good idea who, had posted an ad. "Free Tesla Model 3, must take today. Previous owner moving abroad immediately. First come, first served, serious inquiries only." The post included photos of my car, clearly, taken from across the street, and my actual address. But that wasn't all. There were similar posts on Craigslist, OfferUp, and every other marketplace platform you could think of. Each listing had a slightly different story. Tech startup failed, liquidating assets. Divorce sale, everything must go. Moving to Europe, can't take car, free to good home. Within minutes, cars started appearing on my street. People were double parking, blocking driveways, not just mine this time. And some were even getting into heated arguments about who arrived first. My normally quiet street was turning into a chaotic used car lot. I quickly posted updates on all the platforms marking the listings as scams, but the damage was done. The posts had been up for hours before I discovered them, shared hundreds of times. My driveway and the entire street were now packed with hopeful free Tesla hunters. Then came the food deliveries. Dozens of them. Every delivery app available was showing up at my door with orders I hadn't placed. Pizza, sushi, Thai food, Indian cuisine, Mexican platters, enough to feed a small army. Each order was paid for with a stolen credit card, meaning the drivers were expecting tips in cash. I was dealing with an angry DoorDash driver when I spotted Rebecca through my security camera, sitting in her car down the street, recording everything on her phone. She had orchestrated this entire chaos and was now live streaming it to her followers. Watch what happens when a tech bro gets a taste of his own medicine. Revenge, season, justice served. But she had made one crucial mistake. All those marketplace listings and food delivery orders, they were placed through accounts tied to IP addresses. And thanks to my job, I knew exactly how to trace them. I quickly wrote a script to collect all the digital breadcrumbs, account creation times, IP addresses, device information. Every order, every listing, every fake account led back to the same cluster of IP addresses, all registered to Rebecca's home network. She hadn't even bothered using a VPN. While I was gathering evidence, the situation outside was getting worse. The crowd had grown as people shared the free Tesla location on social media. Some had brought their own tow trucks, claiming they had proof the car was legitimately being given away. One guy was adamantly waving a printed screenshot of the Facebook post as if it were a legal document. Rachel arrived just as I was getting off the phone with the police. "I brought reinforcements," she said, gesturing to her car. Two of our friends from the tech community had come to help. Jin, a cybersecurity specialist, and Maria, a social media crisis manager. "This is next-level crazy," Maria said, watching the scene through my window, "but also kind of brilliant in an evil way. She's basically weaponized the sharing economy against you." Jin was already setting up his laptop. "Want me to trace the—" "Already did?" I interrupted, showing him my screen. "Everything leads back to her network." "Yeah, but did you find this?" He typed rapidly for a few moments, then turned his screen toward us. "She's not just live streaming, she's monetizing this whole thing. Look at her Stripe account. She's selling virtual tickets to watch the Karma live stream and taking super chat donations from her followers. The irony was almost beautiful. Rebecca was making money from the very chaos she created, turning my driveway disaster into content for her brand. She had transformed a simple parking dispute into a profitable social media event. "Okay," Rachel said, taking charge. "We need to handle this on multiple fronts. Alex, call your lawyer. This is way beyond HOA territory now. Jin, document everything. Maria, start working on counter-narrative strategies. I'll handle crowd control. She stepped outside with her best project manager voice. Attention everyone, the Tesla posts are a scam. We've traced them to a known social media manipulator who's currently profiting from this situation. The police are on their way, and we're logging identifying information for everyone participating in this orchestrated harassment. The crowd started to thin, but the damage was done. My quiet development had become a viral spectacle, and somewhere in her car, Rebecca was still streaming, still profiting, still winning, at least for now. But she had forgotten something crucial about tech workers. We love solving complex problems, and we're very, very good at finding creative solutions. As I watched the chaos from my window, a plan started forming. Rebecca thought she could use technology to mess with me. Well, two could play at that game, and I was about to show her what a real tech-savvy response looked like. As the crowd from the fake Tesla giveaway finally started dispersing, I noticed Rebecca's livestream had taken an interesting turn. She was now giving her followers a virtual tour of the neighborhood, pointing out various houses and making snide comments about their tech nouveau riche owners. But when she got to my house, she went into full investigative journalist mode. And here, my loves, is where our property rights antagonist lives, she narrated, her camera zooming in on my home office window. Notice the multiple monitors, probably mining cryptocurrency and destroying the environment. And those solar panels, so tacky. This used to be such an elegant neighborhood before the coding crowd invaded. That's when I noticed something concerning. Her live stream wasn't just showing my house, it was revealing details about my home security setup. She was essentially broadcasting my security camera locations and blind spots to thousands of followers. Whether intentional or not, she was creating a security risk. Time to shut this down, Jin said, his fingers flying over his keyboard. Want. Me too. Wait, I interrupted, an idea forming. Let her keep streaming, but let's give her audience something interesting to watch. I quickly logged into my home automation system and pulled up the custom interface I'd built. Rebecca was still narrating her architectural critique of my house when every smart light in my home suddenly turned blood red. The effect through the windows must have been dramatic because she actually stopped mid-sentence. What the... she muttered, her camera focusing on the now ominous-looking house. That's when my exterior speakers, normally used for doorbell chimes, began playing the opening theme from 2001, A Space Odyssey, at full volume. The smart blinds in every window began moving up and down in perfect synchronization, creating an unsettling wave effect. Oh my God! Maria was trying not to laugh while watching Rebecca's live stream on her phone. The comments are going crazy. They think your house is haunted by an angry AI. But I wasn't done. I activated the new feature I'd been beta testing, a holographic projector installed above my garage. Originally intended for displaying holiday decorations, it now projected a giant floating QR code that filled my driveway with shimmering light. Rebecca's followers immediately began scanning the code, which led them to a real-time counter showing exactly how much money she was making from her revenge live stream, along with documentation of all her fake marketplace listings and fraudulent food deliveries. The comment section of her stream exploded. Wait, she's charging us to watch her. Harass someone. Those Tesla listings were from her. I drove 2 hours for nothing. Isn't filing false marketplace ads illegal? Rebecca's perfectly curated live stream was derailing in spectacular fashion. She tried to redirect the narrative, but her followers were more interested in the floating QR code and the seemingly possessed house. Some were even demanding refunds for their virtual tickets. That's when she made her fatal error. In her frustration, she stormed up my driveway, right past the no trespassing signs, to confront me directly. "Turn off whatever tech garbage you're doing right now," she screamed at my front door. "You're ruining my content." I opened my front door, making sure to stay in the doorway. "Actually, I think I'm improving your content. Your engagement metrics are through the roof. Isn't that what influencers want? You think you're so clever with your coding and your gadgets," she spat. "This is my neighborhood. I was building my brand here while you were still debugging your little websites." "Speaking of debugging," I smiled, "you might want to check your stream's chat. I think your followers have some questions about those Tesla listings." She glanced at her phone, and her face went pale. The chat was now filled with people sharing screenshots of the fake marketplace listings, all traced back to her IP address. Some were even posting links to consumer protection laws and discussing class action lawsuits. "You can't prove I did any of that," she said, but her voice had lost its confidence. "Actually, I can. Every post, every order, every fake account, they all lead back to your network. By the way, how many of those food deliveries did you pay for with stolen credit cards? Because that's wire fraud, and I'm pretty sure your followers would be interested to know they've been watching a crime in progress." Rachel, who had been quietly filming the entire confrontation, cleared her throat. "And we've got all of that. Documented, including your current trespassing in 4K. Great lighting, by the way. The red really brings out the desperation in your expression." Rebecca looked from me to Rachel, then at her phone, where her followers were still demanding explanations, and finally at my house with its pulsing red lights and floating QR code. For the first time since this whole thing started, she seemed to realize she might have miscalculated. "This isn't over," she said, but it sounded more like a question than a threat. "Actually, I think it is," I replied, pressing a button on my phone. The sprinklers came on again, but this time they spelled out "end stream" in water jets on my driveway. Her followers went wild with excitement, drowning out her protests with emoji-filled comments. Rebecca retreated to her car, her designer shoes squishing on the wet pavement, her live stream in shambles. But somehow, I knew this wasn't really the end. People like Rebecca don't give up easily. They just change tactics. And I had a feeling her next move would make today's social media warfare look like a friendly game of tag. The aftermath of the livestream showdown brought 3 days of blessed quiet. Rebecca's social media accounts went mysteriously dark, and her BMW was nowhere to be seen. I actually managed to get some real work done, wrapping up a major project and even starting to sketch out ideas for that driveway defender app Rachel had suggested. Then came the Sunday morning that changed everything. Was in the middle of my weekly video call with my parents in Taiwan when my mum's eyes went wide. "Alexander, what's happening behind you?" I turned around to look out my home office window and nearly dropped my coffee. My driveway had been transformed into what could only be described as an influencer's fever dream. A professional photography. Drew was setting up lights and reflectors. 2 people were unfolding what looked like a portable catwalk, and in the center of it all was Rebecca, directing everything like a general commanding troops. But she wasn't alone. At least 20 people in matching sterling luxury living t-shirts were bustling around, setting up ring lights, unpacking camera equipment, and arranging various luxury products on elegant display stands. A makeup artist was touching up the faces of several young women in expensive-looking outfits, all clutching designer handbags. "Mom, Dad, I'll call you back," I said, ending the call just as a drone buzzed past my window. I rushed outside, nearly colliding with a guy carrying a professional streaming setup. "Excuse me, what exactly is going on here?" Rebecca turned around, flashing her most condescending smile. "Oh, good morning. Don't mind us. We're just shooting content for my new luxury lifestyle brand launch. Your driveway has the perfect lighting this time of day." "My driveway is not a film studio," I said, trying to keep my voice level. "Pack up and leave, or I'm calling the police." Actually, she pulled out her phone and showed me an email. I have permission to be here. Check your HOA bylaws about commercial photography in the neighborhood. I scanned the email. It was from Richard Montgomery, stating that the HOA board had approved a one-day commercial photography permit for the street. The street, not my private driveway. This permit is for the public street, I pointed out. You're on my private property. Oh, that old argument again, she rolled her eyes. The permit clearly states including adjacent areas necessary for photography. Besides, we're doing you a favor. Do you know how many followers will see your house in these shots? It's great exposure. Before I could respond, a sleek black Porsche pulled into my driveway, followed by a Ferrari and a Lamborghini. The cars were covered in logos for various luxury brands, and each had a QR code elegantly displayed on the hood. What are those QR codes for? I asked, though I had a sinking feeling I knew the answer. They're affiliate links, Rebecca beamed. When my followers scan them, they're taken to a special discount page for each brand, and every purchase earns me a commission. Isn't technology wonderful? She had turned my driveway into a literal monetization platform. Every square inch was being used to generate content, track engagement, and process transactions. It was influencer capitalism taken to its logical extreme. This is trespassing, I stated firmly. You have exactly 5 minutes to clear out before I call the police. Go ahead, she smirked. I'm sure they'll be very interested in how you've been harassing a female-owned small business. My lawyers have quite a file on you now, including that little cybersecurity stunt you pulled with my live stream. Would you like to explain to the police how you accessed my network? That's when I noticed something that made my blood boil. They had actually moved my Tesla, parking it on the street, to make room for their luxury cars. They had managed to hack into its smart summon feature, likely by intercepting the signals from my phone during their previous surveillance. This wasn't just about parking anymore. This was a coordinated attack on my property, my privacy, and my digital security. They had crossed a line that no tech professional could ignore. I pulled out my phone and opened my home automation app. Last warning, Rebecca. End this now. She laughed, turning to her audience of influencers and crew members. Everyone, this is what threatened masculinity looks like when I hit the button. But this time, it wasn't just the sprinklers. Every smart device I owned activated at once. The garage door began opening and closing rapidly. The security lights started strobing. The external speakers blasted an ear-splitting emergency alarm. And yes, the sprinklers came on full force, but now with an added surprise, I had tinted the water with harmless but very persistent purple dye. Chaos erupted. Influencers screamed as their designer outfits were stained purple. The photography equipment short-circuited in the water. The drone lost control in the confusion and crashed into one of the luxury cars, leaving a noticeable dent. But Rebecca just stood there, getting drenched in purple water, a manic smile on her face. Perfect, she said, as one of her crew members filmed everything. This is exactly what we needed. The ultimate Karen freakout caught on camera. That's when I realized this had been her plan all along. She wanted me to react. Every escalation, every provocation had been leading to this moment. She had forced my hand and caught my response on camera, probably streaming it live to her followers. I had just given her exactly what she wanted: content. And as I stood there, watching my driveway descend into purple-tinted chaos, I knew this had to end, not with smart home pranks or social media warfare, but with something more permanent. It was time to take off the gloves and show Rebecca what a truly motivated software engineer could do. After the purple dye incident, I knew I needed a plan that went beyond smart home pranks. Rebecca had proven she could turn any confrontation into content that benefited her brand. It was time to hit her where it really hurt, her digital empire. I called an emergency strategy session with my tech squad. Rachel brought pizza, Jin brought his cybersecurity expertise, and Maria brought her social media crisis management experience. We set up in my home office, surrounded by monitors displaying Rebecca's entire digital footprint. "Look at this," Jin said, pointing to one of the screens. "The Tesla hack wasn't just a lucky break for them. They've been using a sophisticated signal interceptor. That's how they got past your security system, too." Maria was scrolling through Rebecca's various social media accounts. She's already spun the purple dye incident into a whole narrative. Her followers are eating it up. She's calling it the Purple Rain Revolution and selling merchandise with Purple Rain designs. The woman's got to admire her hustle. "But here's where it gets interesting," Rachel interjected, pulling up some documents on her laptop. "I did some digging into her brand partnerships. All those luxury cars in your driveway, they weren't actually sponsored content. She was faking partnerships with those brands." That caught my attention. "What do you mean, those QR codes? They led to affiliate links for third-party resellers, not the actual luxury brands." She's been implying she has official partnerships, but there's no record of any contracts. In influencer marketing, that's a huge no-no. A plan started forming in my mind. "Jin, those signal interceptors they used, that's definitely illegal, right?" He nodded. "Federal law, actually. Using unauthorized devices to intercept vehicle control signals is a serious offense." "And Maria, what happens when luxury brands find out someone's falsely claiming to represent them?" She grinned. "They usually respond with cease and desist letters, faster than you can say trademark infringement." I cracked my knuckles and opened my development environment. "Okay, here's what we're going to do. Over the next 6 hours, fueled by coffee and righteous indignation, we built what I like to call the Influencer Accountability Protocol. First, I created a script that documented every instance of Rebecca's fake brand partnerships, cataloging her unauthorized use of logos, false claims of sponsorship, and misleading affiliate marketing. Jin set up a secure system to record and timestamp all the evidence of their signal interception activities. Rachel drafted a comprehensive legal brief outlining all potential violations, from trespassing to wire fraud. Maria prepared a social media crisis management plan, not for us, but for the brands Rebecca had been impersonating. Then came the execution phase. At exactly 9 a.m. the next morning, our system automatically sent detailed reports to the legal departments of every luxury brand Rebecca had falsely claimed to represent. 2. The FTC's Influencer Marketing Compliance Division. 3. The FBI's Cybercrime Unit regarding the signal interceptors. The State Attorney General's Consumer Protection Office. 5. Every legitimate brand she actually had partnerships with, but the masterstroke was what we called the Truth Cascade. We created a bot that would systematically comment on every one of Rebecca's posts where she claimed fake partnerships, tagging the actual brands and linking to their official statement policies about unauthorized representation. The bot was sophisticated enough to avoid spam filters and used natural language processing to vary its responses. Within hours, Rebecca's phone must have been exploding with notifications. Cease and desist letters started rolling in from luxury brands. Her legitimate sponsors began sending partnership termination notices. The FBI opened an investigation into the signal interception devices. I watched through my security cameras as a parade of delivery people brought legal letters to her house. But instead of rushing over to confront me, Rebecca did something unexpected. She went live on Instagram. "My beautiful followers," she began, her voice trembling slightly. "I'm being attacked by big tech bullies who don't understand how content creation works. They're trying to silence your favorite luxury lifestyle curator, but her followers weren't buying it this time. The comment section was flooded with questions about the fake partnerships and unauthorized brand representations. Some were demanding refunds for products they'd bought through her misleading affiliate links. The final blow came when one of the luxury car companies posted an official statement. "We have no partnership with Rebecca Sterling or Sterling Luxury Living. Any claims of affiliation are false. Legal action is pending." Within hours, her follower count started dropping. Brand deals disappeared. The luxury car enthusiast community, discovering they'd been deceived, turned against her. Her entire carefully curated digital empire was crumbling in real time. Through my window, I watched as a tow truck arrived. Not for any cars this time, but to confiscate the signal interception equipment the FBI had traced to her house. Rebecca stood in her doorway, phone still in hand, probably trying to figure out how to turn this into content too. But this time, there was no spinning it. No quirky Instagram story could explain away federal investigations and angry luxury brands. I had finally found her kryptonite: authenticity and legal accountability. As I watched her pace in her driveway, frantically making phone calls, I felt a mix of satisfaction and sympathy. Maybe now she'd understand that actions in the real world have consequences, even for influencers. Though knowing Rebecca, this was probably just the end of Season 1 in her content creator saga. Rebecca's meltdown was not the quiet kind. Instead of retreating from social media in disgrace, she doubled down in the most spectacular way possible. At 3 a.m., my phone exploded with notifications as she launched what she called her Truth Tell-All livestream series, Episode 1, titled Silicon Valley's Dark Side, My Neighbor the Cyber Stalker. Started with her sitting in what looked like an expensive home office, wearing all black like she was giving a Silicon Valley villain TED Talk. Her makeup was perfection, clearly done for dramatic effect, with a single artful tear rolling down her cheek. "My loves," she began, her voice quivering just enough to seem authentic, "what I'm about to share will shock you. It's a story of tech privilege, digital harassment, and the dark underbelly of Silicon Valley's elite." I watched, fascinated, as she wove an elaborate conspiracy theory about how I was supposedly part of a secret tech Illuminati working to suppress independent content creators. She claimed I had used military-grade AI to hack her accounts and was planning to replace all influencers with deepfake avatars. "He even turned my sprinkler incident into an NFT, she declared, which was news to me. Though I had to admit it wasn't a bad idea. The comment section was going wild, but not in the way she expected. Tech-savvy viewers were picking apart her. Claims in real-time military-grade AI? That's not a thing. LOL at Hack the Mainframe. What is this, a 90s movie? Someone please teach her what NFTs actually are." But Rebecca was just getting started. She switched to her secondary Instagram account to launch Episode 2, Revenge of the Code Bros, where she claimed I had somehow used quantum computing to steal her Wi-Fi password and was mining cryptocurrency through her Ring doorbell. That's when things got really interesting. The tech community, always ready for a good drama, started fact-checking her claims with increasingly sarcastic Twitter threads. Tech influencer meltdown started trending. Someone even created a bingo card for her buzzword-filled rants. Military-grade AI, hack the mainframe, quantum computing, blockchain conspiracy, evil code bros. By Episode 3, The Blockchain Conspiracy, Rebecca had gone full tech paranoia. She was wearing a tin-foil hat to block my neighbor's 5G mind control signals and claiming that her purple-stained designer clothes were actually evidence of a nanotech attack. The parodies started almost immediately. Tech influencers began posting their own versions of her rants, replacing her tech buzzwords with even more ridiculous terms. My favorite was the one where a guy claimed his neighbor was using a blockchain-enabled quantum AI neural network to make his toast always land butter side down. But the real turning point came during episode 4. Rebecca, growing increasingly frustrated that her normal tactics weren't working, decided to up the ante. She announced she was starting a GoFundMe campaign to fight back against big tech oppression. That's when her remaining legitimate sponsors had enough. They couldn't risk being associated with someone who was rapidly becoming a meme in the tech community. The cancellation emails started flowing in, each one further fueling her spiral. By episode 5, the Python conspiracy. And no, she didn't mean the programming language. She had resorted to claiming that my Tesla was actually a transformer robot in disguise, sent by tech companies to spy on content creators. Rachel watched the whole thing with a mix of horror and fascination. "This is like watching someone try to fight Twitter by printing out tweets and burning them," she said. "She really doesn't understand how any of this works, does she?" The coup de grace came when actual tech educators started using her videos as examples of what not to say about technology. Today's lesson: everything wrong with the Python conspiracy, a masterclass in technological illiteracy, became a viral hit on YouTube. Meanwhile, my security cameras caught Rebecca pacing in her driveway at odd hours, talking intensely on her phone. Through my audio sensors, which I'd upgraded after the signal interceptor incident, I could hear fragments of conversations with what sounded like her remaining team members. "No, we need to pivot. What if we turn this into a documentary series? Surviving Silicon Valley, an influencer's story. What do you mean Netflix isn't interested? Can we deepfake our own footage to prove he's using deepfakes? That's not how it works." Well, how am I supposed to know that? I'm an influencer, not a coder. What about a class action lawsuit? We could find other content creators who've been oppressed by... They're all siding with him, even the car bloggers. But I thought we had a community. It would have been funny if it wasn't so sad. Rebecca had built her entire identity around being an influential voice in luxury lifestyle content. And now she was watching it crumble because she didn't understand the very technology she was trying to weaponize. But as I watched her subscribers drop and her sponsor list dwindle, I couldn't help but wonder if I had gone too far. Had my tech-based revenge been too harsh? Then I remembered the signal interceptors, the fake brand deals, the countless people she'd scammed with false affiliate links, and my sympathy evaporated like failed startup funding. Besides, something told me this wasn't over. Rebecca still had one card left to play, and knowing her, it would be the most dramatic one yet. The official response came in a way I never expected. I was in the middle of a virtual reality meeting, demonstrating a new user interface to our investors, when my doorbell camera alerted me to multiple vehicles parking outside my house. Through my VR headset's picture-in-picture notification system, I saw 3 black SUVs and what looked like a news van. "I apologize, everyone," I said to the floating investor avatars in my virtual meeting space. "Something requires my immediate attention. Jerry, can you take over the demo?" I pulled off my headset to find my phone buzzing with messages from Rachel. "Turn on any local news channel now." I grabbed my tablet and pulled up the live stream just as the breaking news banner flashed across the screen. Breaking: FBI cybercrime. Unit raids Silicon Valley influencer house in connection with international luxury goods scandal. The camera showed federal agents in windbreakers marked FBI Cyber approaching Rebecca's house. But what caught my attention was the group of people in suits with logos I recognized, representatives from Porsche, Ferrari, Louis Vuitton, and several other luxury brands she had falsely claimed to represent. My Ring doorbell chimed. I opened the door to find 2 FBI agents, but not the grim-faced, sunglasses-wearing type you see in movies. These agents looked more like IT professionals, complete with laptop bags and what appeared to be signal detection equipment. "Mr. Chen, I'm Agent Sarah Martinez, FBI Cybercrime Unit, and this is Agent Tom Wilson. We need to discuss the signal interception devices used to target your vehicle and home security system. I invited them in, noticing that Rebecca was now standing in her doorway across the street, filming everything on her phone while trying to look both innocent and persecuted for her followers. Ms. Sterling is already live-streaming this, Agent Wilson noted, checking his tablet, though her viewer count has dropped significantly in the past week. We've been monitoring this situation for a while, Agent Martinez explained as we sat in my home office. What started as a simple neighbor dispute led us to uncover a sophisticated operation involving counterfeit luxury goods, fraudulent brand partnerships, and unauthorized technology use. They showed me evidence that Rebecca's luxury car meetups had actually been a front for selling counterfeit designer products. The QR codes on the cars didn't just lead to affiliate links. They connected buyers to a network of high-end counterfeiters. She had been using my driveway as a showroom for fake luxury items. The signal interceptors were just the tip of the iceberg, Agent Wilson added. We found evidence that her group was using sophisticated RFID cloning devices to duplicate security tags from authentic luxury items. Outside, I could hear Rebecca's increasingly desperate attempts to control the narrative. My beautiful followers, this is just another example of the tech establishment trying to silence creative entrepreneurs. They're intimidated by our disruption of the luxury space, but her performance was interrupted by a representative from Ferrari who was serving her with a cease and desist order. Through my security camera feed, I watched as she tried to dodge the process server while keeping her phone steady for the live stream. This is actually quite serious, Agent Martinez continued. The luxury brands are pursuing civil action, but our main concern is the technology angle. The devices used to intercept your Tesla's signals could potentially be used to target any vehicle with similar systems. It's a significant security risk. We'd like to contract you as a technical consultant, Agent Wilson added. Your home security responses to their attacks were innovative. We're particularly interested in how you detected and documented the signal interception attempts. Before I could respond, we heard a commotion outside. Rebecca had apparently decided that if her influencer empire was going down, she was going to give her remaining followers the show of a lifetime. She was standing in the middle of the street, designer handbag raised dramatically above her head. "This bag is authentic," she declared to her live stream. "I demand that Ferrari's representative authenticate it right now. I have documents proving all my partnerships are real." She reached into her bag and pulled out a stack of papers, which a sudden gust of wind promptly scattered across the street. As she scrambled to gather them, one landed near my door. It was a poorly photoshopped partnership agreement with a luxury brand, dated with tomorrow's date. The FBI agents exchanged looks. "We should probably add attempted fraud and obstruction of justice to the list," Agent Martinez sighed. The brand representatives had seen enough. They formed a circle around Rebecca, each holding their own stack of legal documents. The Ferrari representative stepped forward first. "Ms. Sterling, you are hereby ordered to cease and desist all use of our trademarks, logos, and brand identity." One by one, they served her with papers, creating what had to be the most expensive ring of litigation Silicon Valley had ever seen. Rebecca's phone finally dropped to her side, her live stream forgotten as the reality of her situation sank in. "Would you like to make a statement?" A reporter called out to me from the edge of my property. I thought about it for a moment, then smiled. "No comment, but I'm sure you can find everything you need on social media. I hear it's all been thoroughly documented." The irony wasn't lost on anyone. Rebecca's obsession with documenting everything for content had created a perfect digital paper trail of her own downfall. As they say in tech, sometimes the best debugging tool is a good logger. The week following, the FBI raid was surreal. My driveway, which had become ground zero for the most bizarre influencer war in Silicon Valley history, was finally empty. Rebecca's house across the street stood quiet, its curtains drawn. No sign of the luxury car meetups or impromptu photo shoots that had become the norm. The media circus had mostly moved on, though occasionally a tech blogger would drive by slowly, probably hoping to catch something for a follow-up story. The whole incident had spawned dozens of think pieces with titles like "The Dark Side of Influencer Culture" and "When Content Creation Meets Cybercrime, a Silicon Valley Story." I tried to return to my normal routine. My company was surprisingly understanding about the whole thing, even using the incident as a case study for our security team. If our systems can handle a determined influencer with a grudge, my boss joked during a meeting, they can handle anything. Rachel came over one evening with takeout and her laptop. "You need to see this," she said, pulling up various social media platforms. Rebecca's online presence had undergone a dramatic transformation. Her luxury lifestyle content had been replaced with what she called authentic sharing about my journey of personal growth. "Is she meditating in her driveway?" I asked, squinting at a recent post. "Apparently, she's rebranding as a mindful living advocate," Rachel explained. "She's turned the whole scandal into a series about conscious consumerism and digital detox. Some wellness brands are actually reaching out to her." The post showed Rebecca in designer yoga wear, sitting cross-legged in her driveway, the same spot where she used to park illegally, surrounded by crystals and essential oil diffusers. The caption read, "Every obstacle is an opportunity for growth. Mindful influencer, Dre's authentic living, Hayes Silicon Valley healing." "At least she's staying in her own driveway now," I muttered. The FBI had returned my Tesla's diagnostic data, confirming that the signal interception hadn't caused any permanent damage. They were particularly interested in how my home automation system had documented the attempts, and I was now consulting with them on developing better protection protocols for smart homes. The luxury brand's lawyers had settled with Rebecca out of court, with the agreement that she would never again claim any association with their products. Her remaining authentic sponsors had quietly dropped her, but she was already pivoting to what she called conscious collaboration with aligned brands. Even the HOA seemed to have learned its lesson. Richard Montgomery sent out a community-wide email updating the bylaws with specific rules about commercial photography, social media activities, and unauthorized use of private property. Someone, probably Sarah, had added a comment. "This means no more fake Tesla giveaways. Everything seemed to be settling down. My security cameras showed only normal neighborhood activity. The DoorDash drivers were delivering only food that had actually been ordered. The only luxury cars in sight were properly purchased ones in their proper driveways." I should have known it was too good to be true. The first sign that something was off came from Jin, who had been monitoring the local network traffic as part of our ongoing security consultation with the FBI. "There's been an uptick in encrypted traffic from Rebecca's house," he messaged. "Me, a lot of it." "Could be anything," I replied, not wanting to jump to conclusions. "Maybe she's just uploading her meditation videos in 4K. But then Rachel noticed something in Rebecca's recent posts. In the background of her mindful morning routine videos, you could sometimes catch glimpses of her computer screens. Someone in Rachel's UX design community zoomed in and enhanced the images. "Alex," Rachel called me one evening, her voice tense. "Remember how Rebecca claimed you turned the sprinkler incident into an NFT?" "Yeah, that was nonsense. Why?" "Well, she's actually doing it. Look at these screenshots. She's creating a whole NFT collection called Silicon Valley Survival, the Rebecca Sterling story. She's tokenizing every photo, video, and security camera still from our entire conflict." I checked the screenshots. Sure enough, Rebecca had found a way to monetize even her own downfall. The collection preview showed digital art pieces with titles like Purple Rain Revolution and The Day the FBI Came. Each piece incorporated actual footage from our driveway war, transformed into glitch art and overlaid with crypto-friendly slogans. "But wait," I said, scrolling through the preview. "She can't sell those. Most of that footage is from my security. Cameras. That's my intellectual property." Rachel's expression was grim. Since when has intellectual property rights stopped her? Besides, look at the launch date. The NFT collection was set to drop in 48 hours. Rebecca had timed it perfectly. Right when the luxury brand's legal teams would be least likely to notice during a major Fashion Week event. She's not rebranding, I realized. This whole mindful influencer thing was just a smokescreen. She's been planning this the whole time. Through my window, I could see Rebecca in her driveway, still maintaining her peaceful yoga persona for her regular content. But now I noticed the calculating look in her eyes when she thought no one was watching. The question was, did I let her launch the collection and then hit her with intellectual property claims, or did I stop it before it started? Either way, I had a feeling our temporary peace was about to come to an end. The driveway war was entering its crypto phase. The morning of Rebecca's planned NFT launch, I woke up to find my driveway had been transformed yet again. But this, a time in the digital realm, someone had created an augmented reality overlay of my property, visible through a custom Snapchat filter. When viewed through a phone camera, my driveway appeared to be filled with 3D models of luxury cars, complete with floating QR codes leading to Rebecca's upcoming NFT collection. I discovered this because Sterling Driveway NFT was trending locally, with dozens of people stopping by to take AR photos in my driveway. Rebecca had effectively turned my property into a virtual pop-up gallery without ever stepping foot on it. "Technically, she's not trespassing," Jin said when I called him. "The AR overlay exists in digital space. There's no legal precedent for claiming ownership of the augmented reality version of your property." Rachel was already on her way over, bringing her laptop and what she called her crypto emergency kit, apparently a collection of hardware wallets and digital security tools. "This is actually brilliant," she admitted as we watched another group of crypto enthusiasts pose for AR photos in my driveway. "She's found a way to monetize the space without physically being there." I pulled up the preview page for Rebecca's NFT collection. The artwork was undeniably professional, transforming our neighborhood drama into stylized digital art. Each piece came with what she called exclusive backstory content, her version of events, naturally. The initial pricing was set at $2 per piece, with a super rare animated version of the sprinkler incident priced at $10. She's even created a Discord server, Rachel noted, scrolling through her phone. There's already a whole community of crypto bros defending her right to democratize luxury lifestyle content through blockchain technology, whatever that means. But the real kicker came when we checked the smart contract for the NFT collection. Buried in the code was a clever twist. Each NFT would also serve as a membership token for what Rebecca was calling the Sterling Luxury Metaverse. She was building a virtual replica of our neighborhood where her followers could participate in digital car meetups and luxury shopping experiences. "Look at the virtual property boundaries," Jin said, examining the metaverse blueprint. "She's included your entire driveway and front yard in her virtual luxury space." My security cameras pinged with movement. Rebecca had emerged from her house, dressed in a bizarre combination of meditation wear and cyberpunk accessories. She was filming what appeared to be a promotional video for the NFT launch, walking through the AR overlay in my driveway while spouting tech buzzwords. "Welcome to the future of luxury living, my loves. Through the power of blockchain and augmented reality, we're transcending traditional property limitations. Who needs physical parking when you can have an infinite digital garage? Her followers ate it up. The Discord server was buzzing with excitement about revolutionary concepts in digital real estate and the merger of influencer culture with Web3. Pre-sale interest was skyrocketing. I had to admit it was a clever pivot. Instead of fighting over physical parking spaces, she had moved the entire conflict into the digital realm, where traditional property laws were still catching up. But she had made one crucial mistake in her rush to launch. She was still using my security camera footage in her NFTs. We can hit her with a DMCA takedown, Rachel suggested. The footage is clearly your intellectual property. That might work for traditional platforms, Jin countered, but blockchain is decentralized. Once the NFTs are minted, they're practically impossible to take down. I thought about it for a moment, then smiled. What if we don't take them down? What if we make our own collection? Rachel caught on immediately. Using your original footage, that would instantly devalue her NFTs since you have the authentic source material. Better yet, I said, pulling up my development environment, what if we create a smart contract that automatically mints a competing NFT every time someone buys one of hers? We could call it the Truth Behind the Token collection. Jin was already typing. We could embed metadata proving the timestamp and origin of the original footage. Her collection would be exposed as unauthorized derivatives. We spent the next several hours coding what we called the NFT shadow protocol. Every time Rebecca's smart contract minted a new NFT, our contract would automatically release the original, unedited footage as a competing token, complete with blockchain-verified timestamps and property ownership records. Through my security cameras, I watched Rebecca pacing in her driveway, still filming promotional content. She had no idea that her grand crypto pivot was about to backfire spectacularly. Launch detected, Jin announced at exactly midnight. Rebecca's collection went live with a flurry of social media announcements. Our shadow protocol activated simultaneously, flooding the marketplace with the authentic footage. The crypto community's reaction was immediate and fierce. Rebecca's carefully curated narrative began unraveling as buyers realized they were purchasing unauthorized derivatives of existing content. The price of her NFTs plummeted as collectors rushed to grab the authenticated originals. But Rebecca wasn't done yet. As her NFT prices crashed, she grabbed her phone and stormed toward my house, live streaming what would become the most expensive blockchain-related meltdown in Silicon Valley history. The driveway war had officially gone crypto, and the stakes were about to reach a whole new level of digital absurdity. After the launch of our shadow NFT protocol, the crypto community exploded with activity. Reddit's cryptocurrency forums were ablaze with debates about authentic ownership in the digital age. Crypto Twitter was divided between Team Rebecca, digital innovation advocates, and Team Alex, property rights maximalists. Even major tech news sites picked up the story, running headlines like NFT Wars, Silicon Valley's latest property dispute goes digital. But the most interesting information came from an unexpected source. A group of blockchain analysts who called themselves the Web3 Detective Agency reached out to me through a secure channel. They had been tracking Rebecca's crypto activities and found something concerning. Your neighbor's NFT project isn't just about digital art, their lead investigator explained during a video call. We've found connections between her crypto wallets and several known scam projects in the luxury goods space. They shared their findings. Rebecca had been involved in multiple rug pull schemes, crypto projects that collected investor money and then disappeared. Each project followed a similar pattern: promise exclusive access to luxury goods through NFT ownership, collect funds, then vanish, leaving worthless tokens behind. The Sterling luxury metaverse isn't just a virtual car meetup space, the investigator continued. Look at the smart contract code. There's a hidden function that would allow her to freeze all token transfers after launch, essentially trapping investor funds. I forwarded this information to Agent Martinez at the FBI's cybercrime unit. She wasn't surprised. We've been monitoring similar schemes. These crypto projects are the new frontier of luxury goods fraud. Instead of selling fake handbags, they're selling fake digital access to luxury experiences. Rachel, who had been analyzing Rebecca's Discord server, found more red flags. The engagement metrics are artificial, she reported. Most of her community members are bot accounts. They're programmed to hype up the project and create FOMO, fear of missing out. Jin discovered something even more disturbing in the metaverse code. The virtual property she's selling, it's not just your driveway. She's mapped out half the neighborhood and plans to sell virtual luxury plots to investors. People would be paying real money for fake digital land that she doesn't have any right to tokenize. I decided to dig deeper into Rebecca's past crypto ventures. Using blockchain analysis tools, we traced her wallet activities across various networks. The pattern was clear. She had been gradually moving from physical luxury goods fraud to digital scams, using increasingly sophisticated methods to avoid detection. But she had made one crucial mistake in her latest venture. In her rush to launch the NFT collection, she had connected her main crypto wallet, the one containing funds from previous scams, to the new project. The blockchain never forgets, and every transaction was traceable. I was compiling this evidence when my doorbell rang. It was Sarah, Rebecca's former photography assistant, looking nervous but determined. "I need to show you something," she said, pulling out her phone. "Rebecca's not just planning an NFT collection. She's building an entire fake crypto ecosystem. Look at these WhatsApp messages." The messages revealed plans for a sterling coin, cryptocurrency supposedly backed by luxury car assets. The catch? The cars didn't exist. They were just 3D models and doctored photos, meant to fool investors into thinking they were buying tokens backed by real luxury vehicles. "She's got investors from Dubai, Singapore, all over," Sarah explained. "They think they're getting in early on a revolutionary luxury car-sharing platform, but it's all smoke and mirrors." "Why are you showing me this?" I asked. Sarah looked uncomfortable. "Because she's planning to blame you when it all falls apart. She's already planted forum posts suggesting you're secretly behind the project, using her as a front. When the rug pull happens, you'll be the scapegoat." This explained the weird blockchain transactions Jin had noticed. Rebecca was creating a complex web of wallet transfers that would make it look like I was controlling the project from behind the scenes. Through my security cameras, I could see Rebecca in her driveway, filming more promotional content for her NFT launch. She was standing in front of a green screen, probably adding digital luxury cars in post-production. The irony of using fake cars to sell fake tokens backed by fake assets wasn't lost on me. "We need to stop this," Rachel said after Sarah left. "It's not just about our driveway anymore. She's going to scam people out of millions." "But we can't just expose her," Jin cautioned. "The crypto market is skittish. If we reveal this as a scam too abruptly, a lot of innocent investors could lose everything in the panic." I looked at my screens showing the blockchain analysis, the fake community engagement, the planned rug pull code. Rebecca had graduated from parking disputes to potential financial fraud on a global scale. The question wasn't just how to stop her, but how to do it without causing collateral damage to unsuspecting investors. "I think," I said slowly, "it's time to call in some bigger guns. The SEC might be very interested in this sterling coin project." As if on cue, my security system alerted me to a new live stream from Rebecca. She was announcing the pre-sale of sterling coin with the tagline, "The future of luxury is digital." Little did her followers know, the future she was selling was about to crash into the immutable reality of blockchain forensics and federal regulations. The driveway war had evolved into something much bigger than parking spaces. It was now a battle to prevent what could become one of the biggest crypto scams in Silicon Valley history. Rebecca's attempt to save her crumbling crypto empire was both desperate and bizarrely creative. Instead of backing down after we exposed her NFT collection as unauthorized derivatives, she doubled down with what she called a community governance proposal. The proposal, launched on her Discord server at 3 a.m., prime time for crypto audiences, suggested creating a DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, to collectively manage the digital rights to our neighborhood's virtual spaces. She called it Suburbia DAO. My beautiful community, she announced in a live stream that looked suspiciously green-screened into a luxury car showroom. Why fight over ownership when we can democratize it? With Suburbia DAO, every token holder gets a vote on how our virtual spaces are used. The crypto bros in her Discord went wild. Comments flooded in. Revolutionary approach to digital real estate. Web3 solution to boomer property laws. Take my money. What these enthusiastic investors didn't realize was that Rebecca had pre-mined 90% of the governance tokens. She was essentially creating a digital dictatorship while selling the illusion of democracy. Jin discovered this while analyzing the smart contract. "Look at this wallet distribution," he said, showing me a blockchain explorer page. "All these supposedly different wallets, they're all controlled by her. She's creating fake decentralization." Rachel, monitoring the social media response, noticed something else. She's using bot farms to create artificial hype. These community members arguing in favor of the DAO. They're all AI-generated profiles, but Rebecca's masterstroke was her marketing angle. She filmed a series of meditation sessions in her driveway, now featuring holographic projections of luxury cars and floating crypto prices. Each video ended with her new catchphrase, "Find inner peace through blockchain innovation." The combination of wellness influencer aesthetics and crypto buzzwords was working. Major crypto news sites picked up the story, framing it as a revolutionary approach to neighborhood governance. Investment offers started pouring in from VCs who didn't bother to check the underlying technology. That's when Rebecca made her boldest move yet. She announced a physical event, the first annual Suburbia DAO Luxury Metaverse Festival, to be held in, you guessed it, my driveway. The event website, quickly thrown together on Web3.js, promised live minting of exclusive NFTs, virtual reality tours of luxury car collections, meditation sessions with blockchain healing crystals, networking with high-net-worth crypto visionaries. She even created a promotional video showing my driveway transformed into a futuristic crypto paradise through AR filters. The video ended with her signature smirk and the tagline, "The future of luxury doesn't need permission." But her plan had 3 major flaws. First, her attempt to obscure the token distribution failed spectacularly when Jin developed a visualization tool showing the clear centralization of control. He called it the Sterling Scam Scanner and released it as open-source software, allowing anyone to see the true nature of her decentralized organization. Second, the AI-generated profiles she used for social proof were detected by a new machine learning model developed by a crypto security firm. The firm published a detailed analysis titled "The Artificial Community, a Case Study in Fake Web3 Engagement." Third, and most importantly, she had officially crossed the line from civil dispute into securities fraud territory by selling tokens with the promise of investment returns while maintaining hidden control. She had created an unregistered security. The crypto community, initially excited about the project, started asking uncomfortable questions. Why are all The early transactions linked to the same wallet clusters. Can someone explain these suspicious token flows? Is this another luxury rug pull? Rebecca tried to maintain control of the narrative with increasingly bizarre live streams. She began each one by burning sage in her driveway while chanting crypto slang, "Hodl your inner peace, stake your authentic self, yield farm your karma." But her followers weren't buying it anymore. The Discord server became a battleground of angry investors and blockchain analysts sharing evidence of manipulation. The price of her governance tokens plummeted as people rushed to sell. In a last-ditch effort to save face, she announced that the Suburbia DAO festival would now be fully virtual, a convenient excuse to avoid physical property rights issues. The event would take place in a hastily constructed virtual world where people could experience luxury without materialistic limitations. The promotional materials showed avatar versions of luxury cars doing impossible things like flying and transforming, with Rebecca's digital twin leading meditation sessions on a floating blockchain. It was peak crypto absurdity. I watched all this unfold through my security cameras and blockchain monitoring tools, amazed at how a simple parking dispute had evolved into a full-blown crypto soap opera. Rebecca was still filming content in her driveway, but now she was surrounded by green screens and AR markers, trying to maintain the illusion of a thriving digital luxury community. "Should we do something?" Rachel asked as we watched Rebecca attempt to film a token-gated luxury experience with nothing but a green screen and an iPad. "No need," I replied. "The SEC is already doing it for us." Because while Rebecca was busy building her virtual empire, federal regulators had been quietly building a very real case. Her attempt to escape traditional property laws by moving into the crypto space was about to backfire in spectacular fashion. The driveway war was approaching its final phase, and not even the blockchain could save her from what was coming. The day of Rebecca's Suburbia DAO Luxury Metaverse Festival arrived, with all the subtlety of a cryptocurrency market crash. Despite moving the event to fully virtual, she couldn't resist staging a physical component in what she now called the Genesis location, my driveway. At 6 a.m., my security system alerted me to movement outside. Rebecca had arranged a small army of contractors to set up what looked like a movie set crossed with a tech conference gone wrong. There were green screens everywhere, AR markers taped to the ground, and a bizarre collection of meditation cushions arranged in a pattern that supposedly represented the Bitcoin logo. "Is that a holographic luxury car dealer?" Rachel asked, squinting through my window at what appeared to be a portable hologram projector being set up. "Technically, it's just a Pepper's Ghost illusion with a mobile LED wall," Jin explained, monitoring the setup through our security feeds. Classic smoke and mirrors, but with a crypto twist. Rebecca emerged from her house wearing what she probably thought was appropriate metaverse festival attire, a metallic silver jumpsuit with LED strips, cryptocurrency logos hovering around her head thanks to an AR headset, and crystal-encrusted VR goggles pushed up on her forehead. The festival was supposed to be a hybrid event. Physical attendees in my driveway would be filmed for the virtual participants joining through a hastily developed metaverse platform. Rebecca had promoted it as the first ever blockchain-validated luxury lifestyle experience. What actually happened was a masterclass in digital disaster. First, the virtual world server crashed within minutes of launching, unable to handle the traffic from curious crypto rubberneckers wanting to witness the potential train wreck. Attendees, who had paid in cryptocurrency for premium virtual access, were left staring at error messages. Meanwhile, in the physical realm, Rebecca was attempting to lead a blockchain meditation session in my driveway. She sat cross-legged on a cushion surrounded by tablets displaying live cryptocurrency prices, chanting what sounded like trading jargon mixed with mindfulness mantras. "Breathe in the blockchain, breathe out the FUD, visualize your tokens mooning, Let your portfolio achieve enlightenment. The handful of in-person attendees, mostly confused local crypto enthusiasts and a few tech journalists, sat awkwardly on their Bitcoin pattern cushions, trying to follow along while their phones buzzed with notifications about the platform. Crash! The holographic car display malfunctioned spectacularly, projecting glitching luxury vehicles that appeared to be melting into the pavement. One particularly buggy Lamborghini projection looked like it was being eaten by the driveway, while Rebecca tried to convince her livestream audience it was an intentional NFT glitch art performance. But the real chaos began when her automated token distribution smart contract went haywire. The code was supposed to mint exclusive NFTs for virtual attendees based on their participation. Instead, it began randomly generating thousands of tokens, flooding the blockchain with worthless digital assets faster than she could stop it. The smart contract is fork-bombing itself, Jin announced, watching the blockchain explorer with a mix of horror and fascination. It's creating exponential copies of every token. Rebecca's attempt to fix the situation made things worse. In her panic, she accidentally triggered the contract's emergency functions, immediately revealing the centralized control she had been hiding. The blockchain doesn't lie. Every transaction showed her wallet as the ultimate authority, exposing the decentralized organization as a one-woman show. Through all this, she maintained her wellness influencer persona with increasingly desperate energy. As her virtual world crashed and her tokens multiplied into worthlessness, she continued leading her meditation session. Embrace the volatility. Your wallet balance is not your worth. The true moon was inside us all along. The tech journalists were having a field day. One live tweeted the entire meltdown with the hashtag #Suburbia disaster, which quickly started trending. Another was filming a documentary about crypto scams and couldn't believe their luck at capturing this spectacular failure in real time. The final straw came when her hologram projector overheated, sending the image of a luxury car floating up and out of my driveway like some kind of automotive rapture. As the digital Bentley ascended to the heavens, Rebecca finally lost her Zen facade. "This is all FUD!" she screamed at her dwindling audience, her LED-enhanced outfit blinking erratically. "The server issues are just temporary. The token multiplication is a feature, not a bug. Mass adoption is coming." But her followers weren't listening anymore. The Discord server had become a graveyard of angry emoji reactions and demands for refunds. The virtual attendees had given up trying to access the crashed platform and were sharing memes about the disaster instead. Through it all, I just watched from my window, documenting everything. This wasn't just a failed event. It was the perfect storm of influencer hubris, crypto speculation, and tech misunderstanding, all culminating in my driveway. As Rebecca's remaining attendees fled the scene, she stood alone among her glitching holograms and malfunctioning AR displays, still trying to salvage something from the wreckage. Remember to like and subscribe for more luxury meditation content. And don't forget to mint your exclusive I Survived Suburbia DAO NFTs, now available at only 5 ETH each. Namaste to the moon. But even as she made her final sales pitch, the SEC's investigation was moving forward, and her days of crypto-influenced wellness scams were numbered. Sometimes, not even the most innovative combination of blockchain and meditation can save you from the consequences of your actions. After the Suburbia DAO festival disaster, I knew it was time to implement a permanent solution. Rebecca had evolved from a simple parking dispute to crypto scams, and each escalation brought more chaos to our neighborhood. The final straw was discovering that she had started selling virtual parking passes for my driveway in her failed metaverse. I gathered my tech team for one last strategic meeting. Rachel brought her UX expertise, Jin his cybersecurity knowledge, And I had a new addition, Maya, a blockchain legal specialist who'd been following our case with professional interest. "We need something comprehensive," Maya advised, spreading out documents on my dining room table. "Something that combines physical security, digital rights protection, and legal enforceability." What we developed over the next 48 hours would become known in tech circles as the Property Chain Protocol, a multi-layered system that would make it impossible for Rebecca or anyone else to exploit my property, either physically or digitally. First, we upgraded my home security system with what Jin called crypto-aware monitoring. The system could now detect and document any attempt to create unauthorized AR overlays or virtual assets tied to my property's coordinates. Each detection automatically generated legally admissible evidence, time-stamped and stored on a blockchain. For authenticity, think of it as a digital immune system, Jin explained as we tested the setup. Any unauthorized digital activity involving your property triggers an immediate response. Rachel designed a user interface that would make the system accessible to other homeowners facing similar issues. "We're not just solving your problem," she said. "We're creating a template for property rights in the digital age." The physical security features were equally sophisticated. We installed ground sensors that could detect not just unauthorized parking, but also any attempts to set up photography or recording equipment. Each sensor was connected to both traditional security systems and blockchain validators, creating an unbroken chain of evidence. Maya helped us draft smart contracts that would automatically enforce property rights in both physical and digital spaces. If someone tries to mint NFTs or create virtual assets using your property coordinates, she explained, the contract automatically files DMCA takedowns and alerts relevant authorities. We also implemented what I called the Digital Driveway Defense System, or DDDS-1. Automated AR cleanup. Any unauthorized augmented reality overlays were immediately detected and countered with our own AR markers, rendering them unusable. Smart. Property boundaries. Blockchain-validated geofencing that could distinguish between legitimate use and digital trespassing. Content claim system. Automated detection and legal response to any unauthorized use of my property in social media, content or crypto projects. 4. Decentralized evidence storage. All violations were recorded and stored across multiple blockchains, making the evidence tamper-proof and legally valid. Automated legal response. Integration with legal APIs that could automatically generate cease and desist letters and regulatory complaints. The system went live on a quiet Tuesday morning. I watched through my security feeds as Rebecca emerged from her house, phone in hand, presumably planning another crypto meditation live stream. The moment she tried to activate her AR overlays in my driveway, she discovered that her digital props wouldn't load. Her confusion was evident as she repeatedly tried to set up her virtual luxury car display. Each attempt was met with error messages explaining that the physical space was protected by verified digital rights management. "What's happening?" I heard her yell into her phone. "The metaverse coordinates are locked. Someone's blocking our virtual assets." Her tech team, visible on her iPad screen, looked baffled. "It's like the property has a digital immune system," one of them said. "We can't override it without triggering legal smart contracts." Rebecca's response was to try creating new virtual assets under different coordinates, but our system detected and blocked each attempt. Every time she tried to mint a new NFT or create a virtual overlay, the smart contracts automatically filed complaints with hosting platforms and regulatory authorities. The final touch was what Jin called the reality check system. When Rebecca attempted to film content in front of my house, AR warnings appeared in her video feed, visible to all her viewers, explaining that she was attempting to use private property without authorization. "Your live stream appears to be using private property without permission," the warning read. This violation has been logged on multiple blockchains and reported to relevant authorities. Through my cameras, I watched as she paced in her driveway, frantically calling what sounded like crypto lawyers. But there was nothing they could do. Every aspect of our system was legally sound and technologically unbreakable. Maya reviewed the first day's logs with satisfaction. "You've essentially created a new standard for property rights enforcement in the digital age," she said. "This could revolutionize how we handle virtual property disputes." The system worked so well that several venture capitalists reached out, interested in developing it into a commercial product. The irony wasn't lost on me. Rebecca's attempts to monetize my property had led to an actual innovative blockchain solution, just not the one she had intended. Over the next few days, we documented multiple attempted violations, each one automatically handled by our system. Rebecca's virtual empire had finally met its match in real, properly implemented blockchain technology. Sometimes the best way to fight digital overreach is with digital boundaries. The property chain protocol became my unintended contribution to the ongoing debate about property rights in the digital age. As for Rebecca, she would soon discover that our system was the least of her concerns. The SEC had been watching her activities with great interest, and they weren't interested in her explanations about blockchain meditation or virtual luxury experiences. The final confrontation happened during what the crypto community now calls the sterling rug pull revelation. I was in my home office, monitoring the property chain protocol's logs, when every alert system we'd built suddenly lit up like a Christmas tree. Rebecca had gone nuclear. Unable to create new virtual assets using my property, she had decided to execute what appeared to be a massive exit scam. Our blockchain monitoring system detected her attempting to drain all the crypto wallets associated with her various projects. Suburbia DAO tokens, virtual parking passes, digital luxury assets, everything. She's trying to pull the rug. Jin's urgent message popped up on my screen, but she doesn't realize we've been tracking every wallet. Through my security cameras, I watched as Rebecca rushed out of her house, designer luggage in tow, phone pressed to her ear. "What do you mean the transfers are blocked?" she was shouting. "I own those wallets. Execute the smart contract now." What she didn't know was that the SEC, working with our team, had already frozen her crypto accounts. Every transaction she attempted triggered automatic alerts to financial authorities. The property chain protocol wasn't just protecting my driveway anymore. It had become a key tool in documenting her entire scheme. "Look at this," Rachel messaged, sharing her screen. Rebecca's followers were realizing what was happening in real time. The Discord server erupted. "She's trying to drain the liquidity pools. All my Suburbia DAO tokens are worthless. The luxury metaverse was a scam all along." But the best part was watching her discover that she couldn't even drive away. Remember those signal interceptors she'd used to hack my Tesla? The FBI had used that evidence to classify her vehicle as part of an ongoing investigation. Her smart car's software had been temporarily deactivated, pending regulatory review. Rebecca stood in her driveway, surrounded by luxury luggage, frantically tapping at her phone as her escape plan crumbled. That's when the official vehicles started arriving. First came the SEC enforcement team, followed by FBI cybercrime units. The final touch was the arrival of representatives from several luxury car brands she'd impersonated, each carrying thick folders of trademark infringement documentation. Rebecca Sterling, an SEC investigator, approached her. "We need to discuss your recent cryptocurrency activities, specifically the unregistered securities offerings through Suburbia DAO and related entities. This is all a misunderstanding." Rebecca switched to her wellness influencer voice. Suburbia DAO is a decentralized community project focused on digital wellness and luxury lifestyle curation. Is that why you attempted to withdraw all investor funds to your personal wallets 5 minutes ago? The investigator pulled out a tablet showing real-time blockchain analytics. Our systems logged everything. The FBI agents were already executing a search warrant, paying particular attention to her crypto mining setup and the remains of the signal interception equipment. One agent was photographing the AR markers she'd placed around the neighborhood, documenting her attempts to create unauthorized virtual overlays. "You don't understand!" Rebecca was getting desperate. "This is the future of luxury real estate. We're disrupting traditional property paradigms through blockchain innovation." "Ma'am," the FBI tech specialist interrupted, "your blockchain innovation involved unauthorized access to vehicle control systems, fraudulent smart contracts, and artificial market manipulation. Also, your metaverse platform was just a reskinned template with fake user metrics. Through all this, I stayed in my home office, documenting everything through our security systems. The property chain protocol was logging each moment, creating an immutable record of justice being served. The crypto community's reaction was swift and merciless. Rebecca's influence had already been waning, but this was the final blow. Her followers started sharing their losses, lost 5 ETH on her fake luxury NFTs, spent my savings on Suburbia DAO tokens. She said the virtual parking passes would appreciate in value. The memes were instant and brutal. Someone created an NFT collection called Sterling's Last Stand, featuring artistic interpretations of her failed escape attempt. Another developer made a simple blockchain game where players had to park luxury cars without getting caught by the property chain protocol. The most satisfying moment came when Rebecca, watching her digital empire crumble in real time on her phone, finally looked up at my security camera. The realization dawned on her face. Every escalation, every scheme, every attempt to monetize my property had only led to her own downfall. As she was being escorted to a waiting federal vehicle, she tried one last time to create content. "Don't forget to smash that like button and join my exclusive NFT collection." "Ma'am," the SEC investigator cut her off, "I suggest you exercise your right to remain silent. Your smart contracts have done enough talking. The last thing I saw through my cameras was Rebecca being driven away, her designer luggage left forgotten in the driveway she'd tried so hard to monetize. A fitting end to Silicon Valley's most bizarre property dispute, the wannabe crypto influencer undone by the very technology she claimed to be revolutionizing." Jin's message summed it up perfectly. In the end, the best rug pull was the one that pulled the rug out from under her scam. I couldn't have said it better myself. The aftermath of Rebecca's arrest became a case study in how quickly the tech community can transform a scandal into a learning opportunity. Within days, multiple blockchain security firms had published detailed analyses of the property chain protocol, praising its innovative approach to digital property rights protection. Our neighborhood became an unlikely tech tourist attraction. Crypto developers would drive by slowly, phones out, trying to trigger our AR protection systems. Some even attempted to create their own virtual overlays, just to see how quickly our defenses would respond. Each failed attempt was automatically documented and became part of a growing database of attack vectors that helped improve the system. The memes and parodies continued to multiply. Someone created a Sterling simulator game where players had to manage an increasingly absurd series of crypto scams while avoiding blockchain forensics. Another group turned the security camera footage of Rebecca's failed escape into an NFT collection called Exit Scam Aesthetics, with proceeds going to help victims of crypto fraud. But the real transformation happened within our local tech community. The incident had exposed a crucial gap in how we thought about property rights in the digital age. Several startups emerged, focusing on different aspects of the problem, Virtual Property Defense, a company using our open-sourced protocols to protect physical spaces from unauthorized digital exploitation. AR Rights Management, a service, helping property owners manage their augmented reality presence. Blockchain Boundaries, a platform for establishing and enforcing digital property lines. Even the luxury brands that Rebecca had impersonated found a silver lining. They began implementing versions of our protection system to prevent future influencers from creating unauthorized virtual showrooms. Ferrari's legal team particularly enjoyed using the AR warning system to shut down fake virtual car shows. The HOA, led by a chastened Richard Montgomery, completely rewrote their guidelines for digital property use. The new rules, dubbed the Sterling Amendments, specifically addressed everything from AR overlays to virtual property rights. They even hired a digital property manager to monitor the neighborhood's virtual presence. Rachel's UX design firm was flooded with requests to create similar protection systems for other communities. "We're calling it Smart Property 2.0, she told me over coffee one morning. It's not just about physical security anymore. It's about protecting your space in every reality." Jin's cybersecurity team turned our documentation of Rebecca's schemes into training materials for detecting crypto fraud. The Sterling protocols became required reading for blockchain forensics specialists, with our driveway war serving as a perfect case study of how digital rights violations can escalate. The tech media had a field day with follow-up stories. From driveway dispute to digital defense, how one homeowner revolutionized property rights. The Sterling effect, when influencer culture collides with blockchain reality. Crypto karma, how a failed scammer inspired the future of digital property. Protection Sarah, Rebecca's former assistant, found redemption by becoming a whistleblower consultant, helping authorities identify similar scams. She started a popular podcast called Influence and Interference, breaking down the red flags she'd noticed while working with Rebecca. The crypto community, always quick to adapt, began using pulling a sterling as shorthand for any particularly absurd attempt to monetize something you don't own. The phrase, "Is your driveway on the blockchain?" became a running joke in tech circles, used to mock overly ambitious crypto projects. But the most interesting development came from an unexpected source. Several of Rebecca's victims, rather than remaining angry, formed a support group called Recovery Chain, a community focused on helping people who'd lost money in influencer-led crypto scams. They used our case as a template for identifying warning signs and protecting themselves from future schemes. The local news did a follow-up story 6 months after Rebecca's arrest. They interviewed various neighbors about how the incident had changed our community. "We're probably the most technologically secure neighborhood in Silicon Valley now," one resident laughed. "Try to create an unauthorized AR overlay here, and 5 different systems will shut you down before you can say blockchain." Another neighbor, a retired software engineer, had turned his entire property into a testing ground for digital rights management. "I've got AR markers that can detect a virtual photo shoot from a mile away. No more influencer ambushes in this zip code." Even the local coffee shop got in on the action, offering a Sterling special, a purple-colored drink that came with an NFT certificate of authenticity and a guarantee that no influencers were harmed in its making. My driveway, the epicenter of it all, became something of a legend in tech circles. Developers would sometimes leave offerings of energy drinks and USB drives by my mailbox, treating the site like some kind of digital rights shrine. One startup even offered to buy the property for their company headquarters, promising to preserve the historic driveway as a reminder of the great crypto influencer war of 2025. Through it all, I kept maintaining and improving the property chain protocol, turning what started as a defense against one overzealous influencer into a blueprint for protecting property rights in an increasingly digital world. Sometimes the best innovations come from the most unlikely conflicts, even if they start with someone parking in your driveway. Life after the Sterling incident settled into a new kind of normal. My driveway, once the battleground for the most bizarre property dispute in Silicon Valley history, returned to its humble role as a place to park cars, though now it was probably the most technologically secure parking space in the country. The property chain protocol continued running silently in the background, its code a constant guardian against digital trespass. Occasionally, it would detect and block attempted AR overlays from crypto tourists trying to recreate Rebecca's infamous virtual luxury showroom, but mostly it just logged regular neighborhood activity. Rachel and I finally got to have that dinner. Date we'd been planning before all the chaos started. We sat on my front porch, enjoying takeout and watching the sunset. My security system pinged occasionally, alerting us to passing cars slowing down to take pictures of what had become known in tech circles as the Sterling Ground Zero. "You know," Rachel said, scrolling through her phone, "the memes are still going strong. Someone just made a Twitter bot that generates fake Rebecca crypto project names. My favorite so far is Driveway Coin. The future of parking is Web3. The neighborhood had changed too, but in subtle ways. The HOA's new digital property manager regularly consulted with me about updating their virtual space guidelines. They'd even created a neighborhood-wide implementation of our protection system, making Maple Grove Lane the first digitally sovereign community in Silicon Valley. Our local coffee shop had made their Sterling Special a permanent menu item, complete with a smart contract that donated a portion of each purchase to cybersecurity education. The purple drink had become a favorite among tech workers who'd pose with it for social media, though now they were careful to get proper permission for any AR filters they used. The tech industry's response continued to evolve. Several major companies had integrated versions of our property protection system into their smart home products. Sterling Proof became a common feature listing for security systems, right alongside motion detection and 24/7 monitoring. Jin had turned our experience into a successful consulting business, helping other communities implement digital property rights protection. "You wouldn't believe how many wannabe Rebeccas are out there," he told me during one of our regular security audits. "Every week we catch someone trying to tokenize property they don't own." The legal landscape was changing too. Myers' law firm had created a whole new practice area focused on hybrid property rights, dealing with cases where physical and digital property disputes intersected. They used our case as a template for handling similar conflicts, though none quite matched the sheer audacity of Rebecca's schemes. My own career took an unexpected turn. The property chain protocol had caught the attention of several major tech companies, and I found myself giving talks at cybersecurity conferences about the intersection of physical and digital property rights. My presentation, From Driveway to DAO, Lessons in Digital Property Protection, became a popular case study in tech law courses. The crypto community had largely moved on to new dramas, though pulling a sterling remained firmly entrenched in their lexicon. Any project that tried to monetize public spaces or private property through questionable blockchain schemes would quickly get labeled as sterling-like and face immediate scrutiny. Sarah's whistleblower consulting business was thriving. She'd turned her experience into a valuable resource for identifying social media-based fraud, helping authorities catch several other influencers attempting similar schemes. Her podcast, Influence and Interference, had become required listening for cyber fraud investigators. One quiet evening, as I was reviewing the latest property chain protocol logs, I received an interesting alert. Someone had tried to create an AR overlay in my driveway, but instead of luxury cars or crypto promotions, it was a simple message. Thank you for protecting our digital spaces. The attempt was automatically blocked, of course, but I appreciated the sentiment. Rachel looked over my shoulder at the alert. You know what's ironic, she said. Rebecca wanted so badly to be remembered as a luxury lifestyle pioneer, and she did end up changing how we live, just not in the way she intended. She was right. The Sterling incident had forced us to confront important questions about property rights in the digital age. How do we protect physical spaces from virtual exploitation? Where do we draw the line between digital creativity and property rights? What happens when influencer culture collides with blockchain technology? My driveway, oddly enough, had helped answer some of those questions. The property chain protocol wasn't just a security system anymore. It was a framework for managing the increasingly blurry line between physical and digital property rights. The last traces of Rebecca's presence were finally fading from the neighborhood. Her house had been sold to a quiet software engineer who worked remotely and had zero interest in creating virtual luxury experiences. The only reminder of the whole ordeal was a small plaque the HOA had installed at the entrance to our street. Welcome to Maple Grove Lane, a digitally secure community. Sometimes, late at night, I'd look out at my driveway and marvel at how a simple parking dispute had evolved into a revolution in digital property rights. The space looked ordinary enough, just concrete and sensor nodes, but it represented something bigger, a milestone in our ongoing effort to maintain order in an increasingly virtual world. Looking back at the whole Sterling incident, as it's now known in Silicon Valley lore, I can't help but appreciate the strange way technology shapes our lives. What started as a simple parking dispute evolved into a cautionary tale about the collision of influencer culture, cryptocurrency, and property rights in the digital age. I still get emails from law schools and tech companies asking to use our case as a study in digital property rights. The property chain protocol has become an industry standard, implemented in various forms across smart communities worldwide. Sometimes I wonder if Rebecca knows that her attempted scams inadvertently led to one of the most significant advances in digital property protection. Last week, I received an interesting update from Agent Martinez at the FBI's cybercrime unit. Rebecca had completed her sentence, mostly house arrest ironically, and was barred from cryptocurrency trading or social media influencing. She'd apparently found a new calling teaching digital ethics and responsibility at a community college. A requirement of her plea deal. There's something poetically just about the former crypto scammer warning students about the dangers of digital fraud. Rachel and I finally got married, and yes, we held the ceremony in my driveway, partly as a joke, but mostly because the space had become meaningful to us. We even created a legitimate, fully compliant NFT collection of the wedding photos, with proceeds going to a fund for victims of crypto scams. The collection, titled Love in the Time of Blockchain, became a small hit in the crypto art world. Jin's security consulting firm now offers what they call Sterling assessments, comprehensive evaluations of properties' vulnerability to digital exploitation. The checklist includes items like unauthorized AR overlay potential and virtual space monetization risk. It would be funny if it wasn't so necessary in today's world. The tech industry learned valuable lessons from our experience. Major platforms now require proof of property rights before allowing virtual overlays or digital asset creation tied to physical locations. The term spatial sovereignty entered the tech lexicon, defining the right to control both physical and digital aspects of one's property. Sarah's whistleblower work led to the creation of the Digital Truth Initiative, a non-profit organization, helping people identify and avoid influencer-led scams. She occasionally sends me updates about other wannabe Rebeccas they've caught trying to tokenize everything from public parks to historical landmarks. The HOA's digital property manager position became a model for other communities. Now, alongside traditional property maintenance, neighborhoods have to consider their digital curb appeal, ensuring their virtual spaces are as well maintained as their physical ones. Richard Montgomery even invited me to speak at a national conference about implementing digital property protection systems. My driveway itself has become something of a pilgrimage site for tech security researchers. I've lost count of the number of times I've looked out my window to see people taking selfies with my property's AR boundaries. Some crypto developers even created a virtual scavenger hunt game called Find the Sterling, where players have to spot increasingly sophisticated attempts at digital property violation. The legal framework we helped establish has proven invaluable as technology continues to evolve. When the first true metaverse properties started selling, our case was referenced in determining how to protect physical locations from unauthorized virtual exploitation. Myers law firm now teaches a course called The Sterling Principles of Digital Property Rights to new attorneys. But perhaps the most significant change has been in how we think about the intersection of physical and digital space. The idea that your property rights extend into virtual realms isn't just legal theory anymore. It's a fundamental principle of modern property ownership. Every smart home system now comes with digital boundary protection as a standard feature. Rachel recently showed me a trend on social media where people share their sterling stories, incidents of preventing unauthorized digital exploitation of their properties. Some are serious, others humorous, but they all reflect a growing awareness of our rights in both physical and virtual spaces. The crypto community, ever adaptable, turned the whole incident into a learning opportunity. Don't pull a sterling became a common warning in crypto investment forums, right alongside do your own research and not financial advice. Some developers even created smart contracts with built-in sterling checks to prevent unauthorized tokenization of real-world assets. As for my career, I found a new balance between software development and digital rights advocacy. The experience taught me that sometimes the most important innovations come from unexpected challenges. Every time I pull into my driveway, I'm reminded that the space represents more than just somewhere to park. It's a symbol of how we maintained order in an increasingly virtual world. Looking out at my driveway now, with its invisible layer of digital protection running silently in the background, I can't help but smile at the absurdity of it all. Who would have thought that one entitled influencer's attempt to monetize my property would lead to a revolution in how we think about digital rights? They say good fences make good neighbors. These days, those fences need to exist in both physical and digital space. And thanks to one memorable driveway war, we now have the tools to build them properly. The future of property rights might be digital, but the principles remain the same. Respect boundaries, protect what's yours, and always be prepared for someone to try monetizing your driveway as an NFT. Just make sure your digital defense systems are up to date. You never know when the next Rebecca might come along. Up next, you've got two more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out.